Most Aussies, they buy one property, then they get stuck. They wait years for equity to build, they struggle with borrowing, and they think it's impossible to go beyond one or two. But here's the truth. With the Refinance Ladder Blueprint, everyday Aussies have gone from a single mortgage to multi-million-dollar portfolios in under 15 years. Today, I'll show you exactly how it works step by step with real numbers you can follow. And don't go anywhere, because later in this video, I'll share a case study of an investor who used the same refinance ladder to grow from just one property in Logan, Queensland, to a portfolio of 6 properties worth over 3.8 million, all within 12 years. And I'll show you the exact refinancing steps they used. Here's the thing. Buying one property is easy. Scaling to 2, it can be a stretch, but going to 3, 4, 5, 6, or even 10, that takes strategy, not luck, not fancy timing, but a proper structure or a blueprint called the Refinance Ladder. Now, refinancing, it's not new. Everyone knows you can refinance your loan to get a better rate, but the wealthy, they use refinancing as a system to recycle equity, unlock borrowing power, and to keep climbing what I call the property ladder. And that's what I'm about to show you. So with property prices rising again in Australia, which they always have been, the old strategy of saving for 10 years, then buy your next property, it just doesn't cut it. By the time you've saved, the market's already moved thousands ahead of you. The Refinance Ladder, it lets you access your existing equity, not just cash savings, to climb faster. Done correctly, it means your properties work for you instead of sitting still. Your portfolio, it compounds faster. You don't waste the best compounding years of your life waiting. This is how average income owners leapfrog from one property to financial freedom. So, what are the steps? Well, first of all, the foundation. You need to buy smart. Can't refinance if you don't build equity. That means the first property matters. If you pay too much, buy in a stagnant suburb, or stretch yourself on negatively geared property with low growth, you cut the ladder before it even starts. The first rung of the ladder needs strong fundamentals. Think suburbs with growth drivers like infrastructure, jobs, high demand, or property that banks love to finance. Houses or townhouses, something simple, not quirky fringe assets. Also think positive or neutrally geared cash flow, so it doesn't bleed your borrowing power. That's your launch pad. Think of it as building your base camp before climbing Everest. Step 2, equity growth. Once that property grows, say you bought at 500,000, and 2 years later it's worth 600,000, you've got equity. That's the difference between current value and what you owe. Let's break it down. So your property value is 600K, your mortgage is 400, available equity is 200. Now, a bank won't let you take all of that. Typically, they can release up to 80% of the property value minus what you owe. So at 600K at 80%, it's 480. Subtract your 400K loan, that's 80,000 usable equity. That 80K is essentially your deposit for the next property. Step 3, refinancing or unlocking. This is where the refinance ladder comes alive. Instead of just sitting on that property you refinance, you go back to the bank or broker, revalue the property, and access the 80K of usable equity. That becomes a seed capital to buy your second property. So now you've got 2 properties. Each has its own growth potential. Both are building equity. And when they grow further, you repeat the process. Refinance again, release equity, fund the third property. That's the ladder in action, step by step, property by property. Now, step 4, managing the cash flow and the risk. Now, Aussie investors, they're getting excited at this point, but here's where discipline comes in. Refinancing gives you leverage, but leverage cuts both ways. If you refinance too aggressively without planning cash flow, you could stretch yourself too thin. Here's the key. Always stress test repayments at higher rates. Keep buffers in offset accounts. Mix growth properties with some that generate stronger rental yields so you maintain balance. The balance is what keeps you climbing the ladder instead of falling off. All right, the real world case study. Let's bring this to life. Jason, 33 years old, purchased his first property in Logan, Queensland in 2010 for 350K. By 2013, that property was worth around 420,000. He refinanced, pulled out about 50,000 and bought a second property in Ipswich. Both grew. By 2017, he refinanced again, pulled another 120K combined and bought a duplex in Toowoomba. Fast forward 12 years. Jason now has 6 properties across Queensland worth about 3.8 million. His loans sit around 2.6 million, giving him equity north of about 1.2 mil. And the rental income covers the mortgage comfortably. What made it possible? Not saving deposits for decades at a time, not waiting for pay rises, but disciplined use of the refinance ladder to recycle and redeploy equity. Now, the refinance ladder is powerful, but it's easy to mess up. So here are the traps to look out for. Cross-collateralizing loans. Banks love it, but big mistake. Always keep loans standalone per property to avoid banks trying to tie everything together. 2, ignoring valuations. Banks undervalue properties sometimes, so shop around with different lenders. That way you can access more equity a lot sooner. 3, poor property choices. Refinancing won't work if the property doesn't grow in value, so make sure you choose right. And 4, not having buffers. If all your cash is locked up in your next deposit, you're one vacancy away from being in stress. Fix these and the ladder works. Ignore them and you risk collapsing under debt. If you're getting massive value from this, please hit the like button right now. It helps more Aussies learn strategies like this instead of staying stuck with 1 or 2 properties. And make sure you subscribe because I'm dropping advanced strategies every single week. Now, maybe you're thinking, this sounds unreal, but how do I know if the refinance ladder works in my situation? How much equity do I need? What's the right sequence? Well, that's exactly what we help Aussie investors map out. In our free strategy session, we'll look at your current property, your portfolio, your serviceability, and design the steps for your ladder to scale safely. If you want that clearly before you take your next step, hit the link below and book your session with us today. In the next video, we're going to do a deep dive on insurance, not the boring stuff, but the smart investor's approach to protecting your assets and your ability to keep building wealth. Because all the strategy in the world is useless if one unexpected event wipes you out. Make sure you stick around. You won't want to miss it.